that were on Nick Wright.
Cleveland will come for a Browns game next year. Make our annual appearance in Cleveland.
Okay. Yesterday, the NBA approved using coaches' challenges next season. Teams can use one challenge per game on personal fouls called on the coach's own team, an out-of-bounds call, goaltending, or basket interference. Nick, good idea or bad idea?
I try to be progressive. I try to be forward-thinking. I don't ever want to be the old man yelling at a cloud and saying, back in the day, it was better.
No, you're not going to be on TV when you get old. That's a guarantee. But go ahead.
But back in the day, it was better. Before we had replay polluting sports, coaches' challenges polluting sports. It has not made the game better. It has not made the officials better. It has not made the viewing experience better. And now we have coaches' challenges to the NBA. It's a bummer, but I guess I should have seen it.
I don't think it's going to make the product better, and I don't think it's going to help the relationship between the players, the coaches, and the referees. We saw it 2 All-Star games ago, the last 2 seasons, the players, the referees going at each other like times we hadn't seen since the 80s as far as that relationship. Does this help? Now that the referees, they got someone else looking over their shoulder as far as instant replay, we know they're going to get them wrong, of course. But the coaches, the trick to it is, do they use their challenge for something that's effective compared to late in the game when they need a challenge?
All right, Jared Dudley recently tweeted some love for his new teammate Kyle Kuzma, said Kuzma is the key for the Lakers. The 23-year-old was the one young player the Lakers insisted on keeping. Nick, how much confidence do you have that Kyle Kuzma can be the Lakers' 3rd best player in his 3rd season?
Listen, he was arguably the 2nd best player on the team last year, and now Anthony Davis slots into that role. He can certainly be the 3rd best offensive player on the team. There was one part of his game that fell apart last year, his 3-point shooting on open threes. He went from shooting 37% on those shots to 30% on those shots from year 1 to year 2. To me, that was an anomaly. I don't think he was injured. I don't think he changed the shot. It's just bad luck, bad fortune. He's going to have even more open threes this year. If he hits them, he can be back where he was last season, around 18 points per game.
We saw in the playoffs how important 2nd and 3rd scorers were. Pascal Siakam, sometime being the 2nd leading scorer, what it did for Kawhi. Bledsoe, not being dependable, what it did for Giannis. So as we start doing this, even when KD was hurt, who are they going to get outside of Clay, outside of Steph? So yes, Avery Bradley's important, but no one more important than the Kuz as far as the Lakers and their championship aspirations.
You know, there could be another big move on the NBA horizon. All signs are pointing to the Oklahoma City Thunder going into rebuild mode. As a result, 8-time All-Star Russell Westbrook reportedly wants out. Reports say Miami has expressed interest in Russ to pair him with Jimmy Butler in South Beach. Nick, could a duo of Russ and Jimmy compete in the East?
Absolutely. Now, would they be the favorites? No. Do I think they would make the NBA Finals? I don't. I think Milwaukee and Philly, if Philly's got some new pieces now, but if they're the team that I think they'll be, those are the 2 best teams in the East. But could Miami instantly assert itself as the 3rd best team in the East, jumping over Indiana and Boston and Brooklyn unless Kevin Durant comes back way early? I think absolutely they could. Miami almost made the playoffs last year without Jimmy Butler. They now have Jimmy Butler. If you add Russell Westbrook, don't think about Russell Westbrook and the $46 million he's going to make in 2023. Think about Russell Westbrook, a guy who last year, through the first half of the season, did defer to Paul George before Paul George got hurt, was playing well. I understand he had an horrendous shooting season last year. His 3-point shot and his free throws were career worsts. If he can just get back to his career averages in both of those areas, he's a no question top 20 player in this league. If you can add a top 20 player, you add a top 20 player if you think you can compete for a championship or even just a conference championship. So yes, Miami's kind of boxed in. They don't have the cap space. They had to create cap space in order to trade to get Jimmy Butler. That was almost a miracle what Pat Riley and Andy Ellisberg were able to do. If you're able to go from when last season ended, your best player is who? Goran Dragic, to a team where your 2 best players are Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook, that is a coup. It's not what the Clippers did, but it's damn close. So, yeah, I think this would be, if the Heat can make this move, it's a no-brainer for them.
Well, they'll be competing for a playoff spot. No, they're not going to be one of the better teams, top 2 teams. Can they make it to conference final? I don't think so. At this point in Russ's career, is he willing to adapt full time? You said earlier in the season, he did make some adjustments.
Yep.
But then what happened after that? Typically, you revert back to. Now, we might blame it on Paul George being hurt, their lack of shooting and scoring. But to me, Russell has not. And maybe it's the coaching staff because he has not had a dominant coach who demanded that he change his style. He did have Mo Cheeks, one of the best point guards all time. He used to play the Philadelphia 76ers, on the staff, trying to help him improve to be more efficient as a player. I think Russ is one of those kind of players. I don't think people criticize him for his salary. He's earned that. He's been MVP. Like, he's been in the league long enough. He's won enough. And for 3 straight years with a triple-double, people don't mind guys getting paid. People just don't like Russ. And if you don't like guys, your commentary or how you cheer for them or how you root against them, they become consistent. Chris Paul, do you like him or don't you like him? It's not a matter, is his game aging? If you like his game, you typically are going to criticize him less. I don't believe, even when Russ was an MVP, there was a number of people that they just don't like Russ's style. They don't like how he attacks every single game and is not as efficient and play the prototype point guard way. Russ, how he's interacted with fans. You know, so to me, it's not, oh, Russ is making this amount of money. It's, do you think you can win a championship with Russ? And do other players want to play with Russ? Those are the criticisms that have been consistent.
Well, then the next follow-up would be, what concerns you more? 2 big, sort of abrasive personalities playing with each other and learning how to mesh, or 2 guys that really need the ball in their hands trying to play each other and figure it out?
Well, I don't think Jimmy Butler really needs the ball in his hands that much. I think Jimmy Butler can be a closer.
Even with what you saw in the playoffs at the end of Philly last year?
But Philadelphia was a better team with Jimmy Butler with the ball in his hands.
Right. Philadelphia, he did that because that's what Philadelphia wanted him to do. Philadelphia didn't do that because that's what he demanded of them. But listen, Russ is a flawed player. Russ probably shouldn't have won that MVP, but the counting stats were so gaudy. In real time, I said I wouldn't have voted for him for MVP. But we've got to recognize what he still is, which is a difference maker in this league, which is the best player that will be available over the next 11 months in this league until we see what the next crop of free agents and trade demands are. And I disagree with the notion that you can't win a championship with Russ. You can if he's your second best player.
What team could he be on win a championship?
Well, see, they were up. He and the Thunder were up 3-1 and were favorites to win a title 4 years ago. So when he was the second best player, they were a championship contender. When he was a young Russell Westbrook as the second best player, they made the NBA Finals. You can't win a championship with him as your best guy.
But you can't give him credit for losing a 3-1 lead. He's the point guard.
Okay, well, so there was a lot of factors there. But we should not act as if we know you can't.
Who could you pair Russ up with right now and be considered to be, you're one of the best teams in the NBA?
LeBron or Giannis or Kawhi?
Who's going to have the ball?
What? Who's going to have the ball with Giannis or with LeBron?
Yes, because Giannis is best on the offensive end when he clears it out and take him off the bounce. Would we agree with that?
I agree.
So where's Russ going to be?
So the fit with Giannis, because neither one's a great three-point shooter, fine. I was just going to listing the best players in the league. Put him with Joel Embiid, right? Put him with Anthony Davis. Put him with James Harden, probably wouldn't work. LeBron would be a tougher fit. Put him with Steph. Any of those guys, that is a championship contender. Jimmy Butler, to me, is not good enough for them to be a championship contender. Kevin Durant, a healthy Kevin Durant, we know that's a championship contender. We've swung too far on Russell Westbrook. He can't be the best guy on a championship team. But having him on your team doesn't eliminate you from championship contention. Now, given the money that he makes, is there a team that has one of those top 10 players to pair him? No, and he's probably not going to end up competing for a championship at this stage in his career. I get that. But he and Jimmy Butler would be interesting. It would be good for Miami. No one would want to face them in the first or second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Like, that I feel confident in. You disagree?
I totally disagree. I think you like the way he dresses.
No, well, I do like the way he dresses,
he does.
But that's not it.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, we'll talk some Kevin Durant. Could he be back sooner than we thought? Talk about that next. First things first.
What about Russ and your guy Jokic?
No, bruh.